So now that we've talked about what a budget is and the parts of a budget, let's talk about all the different budgeting styles. Yep, there are many different ways that you can budget. And most people are gonna do a combination of these 4 different budgeting styles. I want you to listen up. See what you feel drawn to when you hear these budgeting styles, because ultimately, personal finance is personal. And whatever feels more conducive to your lifestyle is gonna be sustainable. And that's what really matters. There are 4 budgeting methods that I wanna talk to you about. 1, the zero-based budget. 2, the cash envelope system. 3, the 50-30-20 budget. And 4, the pay yourself first method. All 4 of these budgets are going to require that you know your income, your fixed expenses, and your flexible expenses. Let's start with the zero-based budget. The zero-based budget requires you to list out all of your income and then make a plan for every single one of those dollars. So let's say you make $1,000 a month. You are going to make a plan for every single one of those dollars. You start off by subtracting your fixed expenses from your income. So you start to subtract how much you pay in rent or your mortgage, your car payment, your student loan payments, credit card payments. Subtract every single one of those expenses that's the same amount each month, your fixed expenses. And then you start to subtract your flexible expenses. The zero-based budget method requires you to set a specific amount to spend on your flexible expenses. So you may look at previous credit card statements or previous bank account statements to see how much you spend on flexible expenses. Maybe you decide that you'll spend $50 on eating out and $100 on clothing. You just make sure that you subtract all of your flexible expenses until you have $0 left. That's why it's called the zero-based budget. You're taking your income, subtracting your fixed expenses, subtracting flexible expenses, and continuing to subtract until you have $0 left of income. Does that sound hardcore? Because it can be. The zero-based budget is one of the most popular methods people use to get out of debt. If you're a natural spender or you're somebody whose income varies month to month because you're self-employed, then the zero-based budget method is one of the best ways to make sure that your dinero is working towards meeting your financial goals. It requires that you create a plan for every single dollar, that you track your spending, and that you check in with your budget frequently. It is one of the most time-consuming budgeting methods. However, it is effective when it comes to helping you get out of debt. I personally used it for over 20 months and I'm debt-free and on track to retiring early. Another type of popular budgeting style is the cash envelope system. This system requires you to automatically deduct from your checking account all your fixed expenses. And then you withdraw cash so that you could separate it in different cash envelopes for your flexible expenses. This is a great method for anybody who tends to overspend when using their credit card or even their debit card. If you are somebody who using credit cards is a trigger, and it is a trigger for you if you are charging things on that credit card and then not paying your bill in full at the end of the month. But we'll talk more about that later. Know that the cash envelope system is a great way to make sure that your cash is working towards meeting your financial goals. If you can imagine yourself setting up your accounts so that everything is automatically deducted from your checking account, and then withdrawing cash and putting cash in different envelopes for eating out, for food, for gas, all of your flexible expenses, then the cash envelope method is the right method for you. If you're somebody who prefers to have a little bit more guidance, or maybe because you've never created a budget before, you want to have a format to follow, then the 50-30-20 budget might be the right method for you. This method requires that you send 50% of your income to fixed expenses, 30% of your income to flexible expenses, and 20% to savings and investing. This is a great method for anybody who just wants some guidelines on how to send their dinero to different categories. Now remember, you can always start off with these percentages and then change them as you need for yourself. So maybe you'll find that you need more money to go towards your fixed expenses. Then you could adjust that percentage. Remember, sustainable budgets are flexible and adaptive. Lastly, we have the pay yourself first method. This budgeting method is great for anybody who has consistent income, has few expenses, and is a natural saver. Because in the pay yourself first method, you are going to deduct first how much you want to put away for savings, how much you want to put away for investing, and how much you want to put away for debt. You prioritize savings, investing, and debt payment primero. And then your remaining money is used for your fixed expenses and your flexible expenses. This budgeting method will require for you to possibly change how much you're spending on your fixed expenses and your flexible expenses so that you can make sure that you're reaching your savings, investing, and debt payoff goals first. These are 4 budgeting styles. You choose the one that's easier for you to follow. What is most important is that you consistently create a spending plan so that you know where your dinero is going and you remain mindful about making sure your dinero goes towards your financial goal of building wealth. To recap, the zero-based budget is to plan out how much you're going to spend on both fixed and flexible expenses with every single dollar of your income. This budgeting method can be a game changer for people who are natural spenders and want to eliminate their debt. The cash envelope system requires your fixed expenses be pulled out of your checking account and cash be used for all of your flexible expenses. This is a great budgeting method for anyone who overspends when using credit cards and wants to eliminate their debt. The 50-30-20 budget allocates 50% for fixed expenses, 30% to flexible expenses, and 20% to savings and debt. This is a great budgeting method for people who have never created a budget before and want some guidelines. The pay yourself first method requires you prioritizing saving, investing, and debt repayment before your fixed and flexible expenses. This budgeting method is great for people who are natural savers with few expenses and consistent income. We want you to choose a budgeting style that works for you because personal finance is personal. Great job learning about all the different budgeting styles. Now it's time to go learn about budgeting tools. Thanks for being here and see you in the next class.